What is up, YouTube? Welcome on to the YouTube live stream from 2 to 3 p.m. My name is Hayden. I work at ICECO in customer service as well as tech support. So I do lots of diagnostics and repairs. Once again, I'm going to give you guys a quick moment to hop right into the YouTube live. In the meantime, I'm also going to pull up the YouTube myself too, and then we'll go ahead and then get started. So let me just go ahead and pull up the stream. And then we'll go ahead and get started. So just gonna give you guys a quick moment. All right, perfect. All right, so there you go. I'll be able to monitor any questions, comments, or concerns that you guys might have throughout the live stream, and I'll be able to answer any sort of questions that you guys got for me over here. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started for the YouTube live stream. Once again, a little intro. My name is Hayden. I work at ICECO in tech customer support. I pretty much specialize in doing diagnostics and repairs on a lot of these fridges, as well as over the phone diagnostics, either through social media, the Facebook platform, and then obviously, through the phone as well. And then email. Pretty much I'm all up and about multiple platforms, trying to help everyone with their diagnostics and repairs on certain fridges. And then I'm responsible for sending out parts and replacements to certain people, as well as warranting certain fridges. And then of course on the side, I more or less conduct these live streams where I talk about several products and characteristics, as well as the pricing concerning those products too. So I pretty much promote certain products that have some good discounts, or I recommend certain products that I think would be a good choice for your sort of application. At ICECO here, we pretty much make and manufacture a more luxurious alternative to the traditional coolers. For those you have the original coolers where you throw ice cubes in them, and then you throw your food, and then you're good to go. You take that wherever you're camping. But there's obviously one major downside to that, and that is primarily because if you have ice cubes, they tend to melt over time, so you're not able to camp or be away from civilization for a lot longer. Then as an alternative, if you did have the more luxurious cooler, and then of course you won't know the exact temperature of your food and items. Say for example, you want to carry ice cream or you want to freeze certain items, it becomes a lot harder and difficult to maintain that exact temperature when you're taking the fridges to go off-roading, camping, or whatever you're doing. So once again, that's the biggest benefit of going with ICECO, is we got these fridges and whatnot as an alternative to the traditional coolers. And pretty much we make and manufacture all different shapes and sizes. We've got anything ranging from 20 liters all the way up to 75, and then going up to 90 as well. So we've got different sizes, different sort of applications for each and every fridge. Now that is enough of me talking about our fridges in general. I'm gonna go ahead and get started on all the fridges we're going to be showcasing today. As you can see in the background right behind me, we are going to be talking about the Go series as well as the JPpro series. Those two are going to be the primary focus of today. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the Go 20. Right, in front of me, you see we've got it at first glance. The Go 20 features a very nice sleek design. It's very rounded and most certainly very lightweight. That's the biggest benefit of the Go series, is because one, for 20 liters, you get a fridge that is primarily made of plastic, featuring environmentally friendly insulation, and pretty much making a fridge that is extremely lightweight, extremely portable, and you can go ahead and take this wherever you're going. As far as applications, you would see the Go 20 being utilized in the back of your SUV, rig, trunk, pretty much anywhere that you can fit a Go 20, you can more or less put, and you could utilize it that way. So for the Go series, they're very versatile fridge that you can use for all different sorts of applications. I don't even have to spell it for you guys. You already know what a portable fridge is and more or less know where these things could be utilized. I'm just here to relay all the information to you, so that way you would know, certain specs, features, weight, size, all the above, and more or less how a fridge measures up to an actual person. I myself, I weigh 5'11". I'm actually 5'11", and pretty much in height, you can more or less get a grasp of how tall and how wide these fridges are. Going back to the Go 20, once again, it's going to feature premium plastic on the outside, along with a digital display on the very side over here. On the inside, let me go ahead and pull out these cables real quick. On the very inside of the fridge, you are going to have two different zones that you can play around with. So for the Go 20 in the white or the gray, you can either get the fridge in a single zone or a dual zone. For the dual zone, you are going to get these two zones that you can play around with. So you are going to have one small zone for freezer or refrigeration, and then you have a larger zone right over here for freezer or refrigeration. The cool thing about the Go 20 is that it actually comes with a removable divider that you can go ahead, pull out, and utilize a full single zone for either freezer or refrigeration. And obviously this thing will slide right back into place and more or less can be opted as a dual zone when you want two different temperatures on the inside of your fridge. That makes it very nice for refrigerating drinks, food, and items, as well as freezing ice cream or any other particular items that you want to be at a frozen temperature. And then going on to the display, I'm gonna go ahead and showcase what that looks like in just a moment here. Let me take this off, throw this on the ground. All right, for the display, let me go ahead and turn this on. Alrighty, so for the display, it's very simple. Honestly, the Go 20 is the simplest fridge you could possibly use. One, it doesn't include any fancy features or technology. All it is you turn on the fridge, you toggle your temperature, and then you can enable or disable the little snowflake, which is a performance-oriented mode for the refrigerator. So for the dual zone, you'll have the option to adjust the temperatures for both zones. They can go as low as 0 degrees Fahrenheit for both of them, like so. And then if you wanted to have quick cooling for one of the zones, that's actually going to be specifically for the left zone over here, which is this small guy. If you toggle that snowflake right down here, it'll go ahead and kick on this little snowflake and will tell this zone to cool down a lot quicker, and more or less will kick the compressor on in full throttle to get down to 0 degrees as quickly as possible, or whatever temperature that you do set for it. Now for the Go 20, they are Bluetooth enabled, so you can actually connect your phone, or you can connect the fridge to Apple CarPlay or Android Auto if you have any sort of the systems or units in your rig or whatever setup you're working with. So that's the cool thing, is that if you have this fridge in the back seat or you have it in the trunk where it is inaccessible, or you can't exactly reach back to adjust the temperature while you're driving, what you can do is connect the Go 20 via Apple CarPlay or Android Auto to your unit, your head unit, and then you can actually adjust the temperature while you're driving, while maintaining eye contact, in the relative direction of where you're going. That way you kind of reduce the risk of possibly, reaching back to adjust the temperature, or not being able to access your fridge whatsoever if it's all the way in the trunk of your, rig. Now for the Go 20, we do offer them in two different colors. We've got the white and we've got the gray as well. I'm gonna go ahead and pull out the gray. So for the white one, we actually do have, for a discount, this fridge is 15% off. So the pricing for it is actually $381.65. So you can actually pick yourself up a Go 20 for a really solid price. Typically, you will see no more than 15 and 20% off on the Go series, just because they're typically renowned as a relatively new lineup that we've got out of all of these series. So for the Go series, the APL series, and the JPpro series, more or less will be 15 to 20% off at most. So that being said, the Go 20 is a pretty solid price. If you're interested in the exact pricing of the fridge, you can go ahead and click the link right down below, or you can go ahead and go over to our official website, our Amazon, and check out the fridges themselves. And then once again, this is just a side-by-side comparison. You'll see what the gray looks like in terms of color. It's more like a tealish gray, and then for the white, you are just gonna have a flat, white color for the white Go series. So unfortunately for the gray fridge, they are gonna be full price, but for the Go series in white, you are gonna get a little discount on the fridge itself. And that is pretty much it when it comes to the Go 20. It's a very simple for operation and use. And there's honestly nothing, extremely, I'd say absurd when it comes to features. It's a very simple operation, very easy to use. And as far as pricing goes, they're relatively cheap, especially compared to a lot of the other fridges in our market. For powering options, you are going to have a DC plug-in. So it has one DC outlet on the fridge directly connected, but is AC and DC compatible. So what you can do is take the fridge, and then it's going to come with this little 12 volt, which plugs into the other receiver. And then you can go ahead and plug it into a 110 volt, or you can connect it to your 12 volt on your rig. So these things are DC and AC enabled. And I mean, that's pretty much it when it comes to operation. It's very simple. Once again, the Go series is not anything absurd. And as far as the weight goes, I think the Go series is actually going to be 27 pounds, if I have to be exact. In fact, let me go ahead and pull up the exact specs and features. So 21 quarts of capacity, and product weight is going to be 27.5 pounds. Obviously, you can check the official website if you wanted to look at the exact pricing. And then for power consumption, you are going to see that it consumes somewhere north of 0.433 kilowatt an hour. That more or less amounts to 43 watts an hour for operation. 43 watts you are only going to see when it's trying to get down to that temperature. Once it's at maintenance phase, where it's more or less just trying to keep that temperature, you'll notice that will consume less than 43 watts. Somewhere north of 35, 33, around that ballpark, you'll notice that it will consume less energy. Now that's enough of the Go series. Once again, these things are great. This one I personally use myself. I take it to go snowboarding multiple times. I went to Mammoth as well as Big Bear, multiple locations, and I've used it several times, kept it in the back of my rig, and it's performed absolutely flawlessly. It's supplied me with the cold drinks I needed, as well as the cold snacks on the go too. In fact, I actually use this to cool down all of my food items that I took with me to the mountain to do hibachi. So that's really cool. For a 20-liter fridge, you can more or less carry a lot of food items. Now, these things are more or less geared to be daytime fridges. So you would see them being utilized for just daytime activities such as snowboarding, going to a picnic, or going to the beach, going for hikes, or just running the fridge in the back of your rig full time, maintaining the temperature of your drinks or food and items that you take with you. Now that's enough of the Go series. Let me go ahead and segue on to the next fridge, and that is going to be the JPpro series. So let me actually go over here and take a JP series right in front. First glance, you are going to notice that the JPpro series is most certainly different from the Go series. The Go series is obviously a very lightweight and very portable fridge, but once you move on over to the JP series, you are going to notice that one, the fridge is going to be a lot bigger. This is a JP40 Pro, which is a 40-liter fridge, but we also do offer two other sizes as well, the JP30 Pro, which is 30 liters, and the JP50 Pro, which is 50 liters. Unfortunately, since I don't have a JP30 Pro on hand, we're just going to go ahead and start from the 40 Pro and work our way up. For the aesthetics on the outside, you are going to notice that there's many features that set the JPpro series apart from the other fridges. One very large redeeming factor is going to be the integrated wheels. These rubber wheels on the bottom over here will allow you to stuff this fridge with as much food, drinks, cans, or whatever you want, and you'll actually be able to wheel this around without even feeling the weight of all those items that you're carrying. For many other traditional fridges, especially if you want the lightweight ones where you could take them out of your rig and then take them to a campsite or walk them from point A to point B, typically you will notice that is a lot heavier. Now I did mention for the Go series it's about 27.5 pounds, but that's the dry weight. That's not including the weight of the cans, the food, or whatever else you're including inside of your fridge. The Go series the JP series enables you to carry all of your food and items without having to worry about breaking your back or trying to, worry about the sheer weight of the fridge when you're carrying it around from point A to point B. Moreover, you'll actually be able to, throw additional items on top of the JP series and wheel it from point A to point B without breaking your bag. So that's obviously a very big point, is the wheels that we integrate, as well as this extended handle like so. Another redeeming factor is going to be the 2-directional lid, which can open up from the front side. And then if you really want to, you can open it from the back side as well. This is great for slide systems. So if you have a slide for one that opens from, in the back of your rig, if you have a trunk, say for example, it's in a GX, 4Runner, Jeep Wrangler, whatever system you're running, if you've got a slide that comes all the way out, what you can do is more or less slide it out, and then you can open up the fridge from the front side. And then if you push all the way back, if you've got back row passengers and you want to drink and it's in the trunk of your your rig, what you can do is open it from the back side as well. So you can open up from the the back passenger seat, or the very back of the rig itself when you are parked. So you have a 2-directional lid, which enables you to access the fridge from the front or the back, no matter where you're at in your rig, whether if you're driving or if you're outside your rig, we're tailgating pretty much. And the cool thing is that this 2-directional lid will actually enable you to pull the lid off entirely, thus enabling more access. This is great if you have large items. Say for example, you've got your big tomahawk steak in the bottom of this fridge, and you don't want exactly, or you want to pull out a basket, all of your drinks and your food. What you can do is go ahead and just pull off the entire basket without having to deal with the lid itself. I get it, lids are annoying to deal with. They become a pain to deal with too if you're trying to grab larger items, or if you're in a restricted space where you can't open the lid all the way and it will just constantly close on you, and you don't want to hold it open while you're trying to grab what you want. You can go ahead and just pull the whole thing off and then grab what you need. On the very inside, you are going to have one LED light for ambient lighting, and then you are going to have a UV light, which is for sanitizing the fridge itself. Now that's a very cool feature that is more or less overlooked in a lot of the fridges out there in our market. One, because most of them have LED lights just for ambient lighting. I get it, that's totally cool. But one very big thing about fridges is whether or not if they're sanitary, especially in between uses. If, say for example, you take a JP series like the one in front of me, you take it to go camping, you have your fun, you're gone for a weekend, you come back and you let the fridge, the fridge is turned off. Once that temperature goes above 40 degrees Fahrenheit, that's exactly when bacteria will start growing, and that's when you've initially created an environment for bacteria to grow, and that becomes a problem, especially if you're storing food or if you're storing items for your next trip. The cool thing is that we make it very seamless for the JP series. If you're a person, you don't really want to clean, or you forget to clean, it happens all the time. But I highly recommend you guys clean the inside of your fridges. One, because it has to be sanitary, especially where you're storing food. That way you can ensure that you are not going to be sick or potentially causing any sort of illnesses when you are storing food, such as poultry, vegetables, and a mix of all different items. You don't want to be mixing all those items and causing cross-contamination between the first time you use it and the second time you use the fridge as well. So sanitizing your fridge is obviously a very big thing, but in case you do forget to sanitize your fridge, we actually integrated this sanitary light where if you plug it in, it's turned on and the lid is completely closed. This UV light will kick on and pretty much try to eliminate as much bacteria as possible, pretty much beaming any sort of bacteria that's in its sight. Obviously, this isn't a surefire way to completely sanitize your fridge, but it's more or less to keep your fridge sanitary to an extent. And then on the very bottom, you are going to have this drain plug to account for any sort of spillage. That way you don't have to lift the whole fridge and then turn it over. What you can do is pull out your basket, sprinkle a little bit of water, soapy water, wash it down, and then drain everything through the bottom without having to tilt the fridge all the way. So that drain plug is very nice. And then obviously for the JPpro series, they are going to come included with your cables, DC, AC cables as well. And another very cool thing about the JPpro series is that they come included with a cover. An insulating and protective cover for the JP series will help improve insulation of the fridge, as well as protect the exterior of your fridge, allowing you to use the fridge for a much more extended period of time without having to worry about scratches, dents, or any sort of damage that happens to the fridge while it's in the back of your rig or wherever you mount it. Now going on to powering options for the JPpro series, you are going to have one AC plug-in directly for 110 volt, and then you have a DC plug-in for your 12 volt or your external accessories, external batteries that you want to connect it to. And then you are going to have one USB plug-in for any of your USB accessories, whether if it's your USB devices or your phone, iPad, computer, whatever you want, you can plug into the back of your JPpro series and charge it that way. Now going on to the front side, you are also going to have another DC port. So that's one very big thing, is that you have the option to plug your fridge into DC from the front or the back side as well. Now I'm going to go ahead and pull up that display real quick. This is when the display tends to get a little bit more complicated, but you do get a lot more features included with the JPpro series. Once you figure it out, it's honestly very easy to use. But one very cool thing about the JPpro series is that they can actually go as low as -4 degrees Fahrenheit, which enables, more effective cooling and freezing for any of your food items or drinks. Let me go ahead and confirm that it's plugged in. Sorry, let me just go ahead and plug this unit right in. There we go. So we do have the fridge plugged in over here. You are going to see that the display is a little bit more higher end than the Go series. You are going to have the option to adjust your temperature. So by pressing the setting button once, and you can actually go as low as -4 degrees Fahrenheit. Press it again. If you do hold your setting button, you'll actually be able to toggle between max and eco mode, as well as your battery protection mode. Now, what is max and eco mode? For those who don't know, max mode is essentially a performance-oriented mode, where essentially if you have it plugged into a 110 volt or your 12 volt, what you can do is kick the compressor on full throttle, and it'll try to reach the temperature you set for it as quickly as possible and maintain it to that finest degree. And then obviously eco mode is a energy savings mode. Essentially, if you have this fridge plugged into your external battery, such as a PB250 I have right over here, which I'm using to power it, if you have it on eco mode, essentially the compressor will kick on, it'll reach that set temperature, and then it will turn off once it reaches that temperature. About 30 minutes of downtime, and then the compressor will turn on again and operate to maintain that temperature. So more or less you'll see less of a frequency of which the compressor is turning on and turning off, and where the compressor will be working a lot less. The only downside in that is you will see that there will be a deviation by a few degrees on the temperature itself. So if you are freezing items or you have very delicate items on the inside of your fridge, I would highly recommend using max mode. But if you're looking for energy savings, then an eco mode will most certainly be more ideal. Now for the battery protection mode, you are going to have low, medium, and high. The cool thing about all of our fridges, in fact 99% of our lineup, includes a battery protection module. Essentially what it is, if you plug your fridge into 12 volt, I know some of you guys may have an experience with that, where if you plug your 12 volt accessories into your car or your rig, where the accessory will continue to drain your car battery until it completely dies. Well, the cool thing about the fridges that we make and manufacture is that we include this module that will essentially monitor the amount of voltage that's going into the fridge, and once it senses it goes under 12 volts for powering to the fridge, it will automatically turn off and trip the system in order to protect your car battery or your external battery, which is charging or powering the fridge itself. So that makes it very nice because it acts as a safety net for when you have your rig off and solely powering your accessories, and more or less will give you just enough power so you can crank the motor over and start it, and you can be on your way. Because none of us want to deal with a dead battery, and I certainly do not want to deal with a dead battery myself too, because one, it's just not a great experience, and I'm sure you guys already know what that's like. And then finally, you are going to be able to see your voltage. It's just, being able to see your voltage. You are going to see a couple icons included. You're going to see a little red light with the little arrows that come out of it. That more or less indicates that the UV light is on and working. And then you are going to have a little Bluetooth module. Once again, for the JPpro series, they are Bluetooth enabled as well. So you can actually plug these guys in via Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. And then you can also connect to them via your phone. And that applies for all of our JPpro series. Now for the JPpro series, you are going to have this little metal band that spans all the way around the side. And I can assure you these aren't just for aesthetic purposes. In fact, if you have yourself a PB250 or any magnetic accessory, what you can do is go ahead and attach your PB250 to the side of the fridge or any of those magnetic accessories that you have, whether if it's koozies or anything else, you can actually attach to the fridge itself and then operate it that way. This makes it very nice, so if you have a PB250 and you know you're rolling your fridge from point A to point B, what you can go ahead and do is attach the PB250 to the side and then roll it all the way from point A to point B, all while the fridge is still on and operating. So it's very nice, so that way you can ensure an exact temperature of all of your food and items and not have to worry about turning it off, wheeling it from point A to point B, or if you're walking around, and make sure that you have power going onto the fridge full time. So it's very nice is that you can go ahead and do that for the JP series. And then that is pretty much it as far as the features. For pricing, everything's going to be on our official website if you want to check it out, or on our Amazon. I believe for the JP30 Pro, we have that one 15% off if you guys want to check that out. As for the JP40 Pro, we do have it full price at the moment. And then I'm going to go ahead and talk about the JP50 Pro, which is the parent of this guy over here. So let me go ahead and pull this off. Now this is the JP50 Pro. At first glance, you are going to notice that it's a lot taller. The JP50 Pro does still retain the exact same base as the JP40 Pro or the JP30 Pro, except the only difference is going to be height. You're going to notice it's a lot taller, and you notice that you're going to have a lot more surface area for magnetic accessories. Again, a two-directional lid, front to back. One LED light on the inside, along with the inclusion of a UV sanitizing light. You're going to have a basket, one big basket on the inside for any of your groceries, your items, or anything that you want to fit in this large basket. This makes it very easy so that if you have any food, what you can go ahead and do is pull it out and then set it down, grab your items and put the basket back. Or if you want to just take it with you to a campfire or wherever you're cooking your food, you can go ahead and take all your groceries out that way. Once again, drain plug on the very inside. And I'll go ahead and tilt this fridge too so you can guys see what it looks like on the inside, because we actually do have a very durable interior for the fridge itself. It's not going to be plastic, or it's not going to be any sort of material that can crack. In fact, it's going to be more or less like an aluminum alloy that we've integrated for the inside. So once again, if you guys want to check it out real quick, we have a nice little metallic interior. That's just more or less for enhanced durability, as well as ensuring that the inside of the tub does not crack or possibly break throughout the years of use. And then once again, temperature range is going to be from 50 degrees Fahrenheit all the way down to -4. And where did my lid go? Oh, here it is. -4. And then for app, usage as far as on the display itself, it's going to be the exact same. You could toggle between degrees Fahrenheit as well as degrees Celsius. And then you are going to have the option for a max and eco mode. And on top of that, you are going to have the battery protection module. And on top of that, you're going to have the option to connect this via Bluetooth to your phone or your Apple CarPlay. For powering options, it's going to be the exact same too. You're going to have one DC plug-in on the front, one DC and AC plug-in on the very back, and then one USB plug-in on the back as well for all of your accessories. So JP50, identical to the JP40. JP40 is identical to the JP30. Just the only difference is going to be the height. As far as a weight gain, you are going to notice that the JP50 Pro is going to be about 1.5 pounds heavier than the JP40 Pro. Now, if you're looking for a fridge that has a lot of space and more or less you can wheel around from point A to point B, then the JP50 would be ideal. I would most certainly recommend it, because when you get 50 liters of storage space, if you have any tall bottles, you have any gallon jugs, or anything that more or less is relatively tall, you could fit wine bottles in this thing and you won't have any problems trying to close the lid. Any food or items, I would highly recommend going with a 50 liter just because you have much more storage space that you can work with. Now, as far as application for the JP40, the JP50 Pro, as well as the JP30 Pro, more or less you would see these being utilized on slide systems or being tucked away within, like, certain narrow cargo spaces. Say, for example, you're packing the back of your GX or you're packing the back of your rig. These are very nice where you pretty much just take up like a certain corner, and then you could stack whatever you want on top of your fridge if you know you're going to be taking your gear out, or you can include this on top of a slide and include all of your gear and everything in your slide, a drawer system or whatnot if you happen to have one. And then you can go ahead and pull this fridge out and then wheel it wherever you're trying to go. So it's very nice being integrated in that sort of application. And then if you do happen to have a Mercedes Sprinter, the JPpro series actually is able to slot in between the driver's side seat as well as the passenger seat, which doubles as an armrest, as well as a portable fridge for all of your food and drinks while you're on those long journeys. Say, for example, you're going on a very long car ride, and you're traveling from Arizona to California, or from East Coast to West Coast, wherever you're driving. It's nice to have your fridge right there, easy to access. That way you can grab drinks, snacks, whatever you want while you're on the road and not have to make a stop in order to have any snacks or drinks. So it's very nice how you can have the fridge like so right beside you when you're on or in your Mercedes Sprinter. So it's very nice. Once again, for pricing, it's going to be on our official website and Amazon as well if you want to check it out. And that's pretty much it for the JPpro series. Operation is very simple. Once again, I gotta say it's honestly not hard to use. These things are great. And this is coming from a guy who works in tech. I do lots of diagnostics and repairs on these fridges, and I gotta say, I hardly ever see any JPpros with any problems. They more or less operate exactly how they're intended. And they feature a very strong and rugged design. While you do see plastic trim pieces all around, the plastic itself is very strong, it's malleable, and it's more or less pretty rigid. In fact, you can sit on these fridges, you can stand on them. I've done so myself. And more or less you can toss these things around and they'll take a beating. And then for just a general information about all of our fridges is that we do include a CCOP compressor. Whether if it's in the Go series, the JPpro series, the APL series, or whatever it is, we include a CCOP compressor, which is a German compressor, which is more or less geared towards a high-end stable performance, as well as ensuring an accurate temperature reading, or ensuring an accurate temperature from the display to the compressor itself. So it's very nice that we include a much higher end compressor. That's probably a very big thing about what makes us so different from the other brands, is because we include high-end compressors. We do a much more premium design for the outside of the fridge. We don't go for just cheap plastic every single time. And then we go for a design that more or less can veer its own way in a certain application. If you make general fridges, we would have a fridge for each and every application. You would have a fridge more or less like this, geared for portability, and then you would have a larger fridge like a VL Pro series or a VL series on a slide system or a stationary setup. So each and every fridge has its own characteristics that makes it very unique in certain applications. And then once again, they feature these CCOP compressors, which makes them extremely great. The cool thing about the CCOP compressors is actually we do have a 5-year warranty for those units. So all of our fridges, we have a 5-year warranty on our cooling and compressor side of the fridges themselves. So say, for example, you had a fridge for 4.5 years, coming up to 5 years, and you notice the fridge stopped working or it started to slow down in performance, and it's not going past 20 degrees Fahrenheit, not going past 30, whatever it is. If you notice a diminished performance, what we'll go ahead and do is we'll warranty out that fridge and we'll send you an after sales replacement, which is fully operational. It's fully works totally fine, and then you can go ahead and use that fridge for however long it lasts. So pretty much you have a 5-year insurance on all the fridges that you end up purchasing with ICECO. Unlike some of our competitors, they more or less offer a 2 to 3 year warranty, but we are so confident to the fact that we actually offer a 5-year warranty for all of our fridges to pretty much guarantee extended operation of our fridges themselves. And once again, we offer them at a very good price, 15% under what the market will typically suggest our fridges to be. And that's mostly because we are the manufacturer and the maker of a lot of the parts that are being integrated in our fridges, which enables us to price them at a much lower point as opposed to our competitors. Let's see what else. Yep, that's just a general tip. The C-cup compressor is absolutely great. And then we've got a 1-year warranty on the aesthetics or the outside of the fridge themselves, which pretty much includes if you dent the fridge or you break a corner piece or you break hinges. Pretty much if it's a fixed part to the fridge where we can't send you a replacement part, say for example, this thing breaks off, we can actually send you a replacement part for this. But if you get like a massive dent in the side of the fridge, or something breaks that's physically connected to the fridge within 1 year, we'll go ahead and send you a brand new replacement and we'll take the old one back. And then, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it for the JPpro series. I got to say that performance-wise, these things are absolutely stellar. Once again, they go as low as -4 degrees Fahrenheit. And I'm going to go ahead and pull this thing. I'm going to stop talking about this thing too much because, there's only so much you can cover for a certain fridge. Now, one thing I usually don't talk about enough is the accessories that we include on our official website, our Amazon, or on our live streams. That's a very big thing that I think is often overlooked and not talked about as much, because these accessories pair very nicely with our fridges that we offer. Yes, you can get the fridge and operate it off of DC solely, or AC, however you want to use it, but opting with our external battery packs or our accessories that we include on the side will most certainly provide you with an elevated experience when you do use these fridges. One prime example would be the PB250. I always talk about this battery pack, and I'll continue to talk about this battery pack until the day I die, because this thing most certainly performs absolutely great. It's a 250 watt battery pack. You are going to have the option for 1 DC, 1 USB, and 1 USB-C. You got 3 plugins, and you've got the powering port right over here. And then once you do press this on button, you are going to see the percentage of battery on the battery pack. And for the price of $109, you do get yourself a very solid battery pack that is DC enabled. That's very nice, because if you have any 12-volt accessories, say for example, it's like a mini air compressor, or I mean, these things are specifically meant for your fridges, but any other accessories, more or less, the PB250 can power without problems. But the reason why I recommend the PB250 is because, one, if you have yourself something like a Go 20, something that's extremely lightweight, extremely portable, I would notice that a lot of people would take these out of their rigs. So if you have, if you're just using it for everyday use, or you're taking it for a daytime trip, you're taking it to a picnic table, to a camping table, or out of your vehicle where it's being parked and locked, what you can do is go ahead and take this little battery pack over here, and you can actually plug it in through DC to your fridge, take this with you, set it on a table or wherever you're going to be sitting at, and run the fridge entirely on this battery pack while you're engaging in whatever sort of activities you're doing. So it's very nice because, one, you can ensure that you have a specific temperature for your fridge, whether if it's you're taking ice cream during the hot summer or you're trying to maintain the temperature of your cold drinks. The PB250 will pretty much ensure a solid performance. It just doubles as an external form of power for your fridges, and more or less will let you monitor and ensure you've got the right temperature for your fridges. That's a very important factor. And once again, for $109, I would say it's a very solid buy. We got the battery pack on our official website as well as on Amazon if you want to go ahead and check that out. Once again, these things are pretty good. Highly recommend. They're extremely lightweight and portable too. I'd say this thing weighs no more than 15 pounds, and you can go ahead and slot it in the back of your back pockets of your rig, or if you have any covers for the fridges themselves. Now for covers, That's a very important factor too. The JPpro series obviously comes included with its own insulating cover, which is very nice because one, you can pick yourself up a fridge and a protective cover as well, which is very good for a price, you know, that's a very solid deal. Now, if you include a PB250, not only do you have a fridge, not only do you have an insulating cover, but you'll also have an external battery pack, which enables for portable action when you do take this fridge from point A to point B. Now, once again, I talk about this all the time, and I continue to talk about it. The PB250 is a solid battery pack. I would personally own one if I were you. And if you do have a portable fridge or you don't have an external battery pack that's as lightweight as the PB250, I would suggest picking one up just because it's very solid. You know, once again, it's a little safety net for all of your fridges and your items. And if you know you're going to be gone from your vehicle longer than you expected, the PB250 will get your back. Now, another accessory I don't talk about that much would also be the solar panel. Right here, we have an 80-watt solar panel. It's a 2-fold solar panel, which comes included with a little pocket right along the side. So what you can go ahead and do is unzip this, where you'll have access to the cable that is connected to the solar panel itself. Now, the cool thing about this solar panel is that if you do have this thing, got the instruction manual right over here. The cool thing about this solar panel is actually it's a little bit more unique than I would say a lot of the other ones over there. More or less for solar panels, they'll just come with these cells and you'll have to hardwire it to an external battery. This thing is extremely lightweight, extremely portable. It comes with this little magnetic clip on the end of it to ensure a proper seal when you do take this where you're going. 2-fold solar panel. You've got one section of cells over here, and then you have another section of cells. Once again, it's 80 watts of draw, so pretty much you can generate 80 watts of power when you do have this facing the sun. And then, let me see real quick. And it comes with this nice little elastic stand. This thing is pretty much springy and it's pretty malleable, so it's not like a plastic stand or something that more or less could break if you accidentally step on it or you run into it. You know, this thing is extremely strong. I could bend this thing and it won't snap on me. And then it's going to have these little weights on the very back to ensure a very solid, you know, angle for these things over here. And obviously, you've got these little 2 small holes right underneath where you can stake them down if you're using this during, like, you know, a windy day or at a point where the solar panel may or may not blow away. Now, this brings me back to my point. If you pick yourself up for a solar panel, $139, I believe is the exact pricing for the solar panel on our official website or Amazon. What you can go ahead and do is connect this to the PB250 right over here, where the solar panel will be facing the sun, and it'll be simultaneously charging the PB250. Or if you want to connect it, you can connect it to the PB1000. But more or less, you'll be generating 80 watts of power to this PB250 right over here, which can then be utilized to power your fridge. And now you've got yourself a nice little cycle where you've got a portable solar panel for $139, a portable battery pack for $109, and then you've got your portable fridge, whether if it's the Go 20 for sub $400 or any other fridge that you want to use outside for your rig setup. So it's very nice how you pretty much got like a full system that you can work with. And then, yeah, I mean, it's very nice because you've pretty much got the solar panel. Once again, 80 watts of generated power. This thing is good to use in temperatures of -4 degrees Fahrenheit all the way up to 104 degrees Fahrenheit. So if you're using this in the wintry cold or you're using it in a desert, more or less these things are capable of handling pretty extreme temperatures and will ensure a pretty solid operation. So once again, I do not talk about accessories enough because I think they're often overlooked. And honestly, in the upcoming live streams, we'll be talking about them a lot more just because I think they pair very nicely with our fridges. And they offer a very nice bundle pricing too. When you do check on our official website, we actually in fact offer fridges with these accessories at a major discount. And pretty much this is a nice little incentive to pick yourself up a solar panel with a fridge or a battery pack with the fridge as well. And then that is pretty much it for the solar panel. You know, it's 80 watts, 2-fold. Go ahead and close this thing however you like. and then you're gonna have this hard mount, hardwired cable that is directly connected to the solar panel. So it's very easy to use. That's one very big thing about the solar panel. It's not a complicated setup. It's very portable. You can go ahead and take this thing out of your rig, close it up, and slot it wherever you want it. It's very portable and very lightweight, and that's probably why the solar panel is a great option. I think is often overlooked, because instead of plugging this into your rig or turning on your rig, consuming gas to power all of your accessories, what you can go ahead and do is use the solar panel to charge your battery pack. That way you kind of refrain from turning on your rig and using your precious gas, especially if you're outside in the middle of nowhere. And then let me see if there's anything else I need to talk about. All right. Well, I pretty much covered most of the items that I wanted to talk about today. Again, obviously, there's just a few points I want to point out. Concerning the fridges, as somebody who works in tech, I know we get a lot of questions or concerns about the use of operation of the fridges. Once again, if you guys have any questions in the chat, don't be afraid to let me know. I see some of you guys are watching. If you've got any questions, if you personally own a fridge and you wanted to know like the power consumption of one of your fridges, or just certain features or obscure characteristics that you didn't know about your fridge, go ahead and drop what fridge you have below, and I'll go ahead and tell you what exactly is unique about your fridge over there. For the PB250, I forgot to mention this earlier, but some of you guys might ask, how long can I use this thing to power something like a Go 20, APL35, or one of the smaller fridges? The PB250 is more or less geared towards those smaller fridges, so you'll see somewhere north of 8 to 12 hours of continuous use. For the Go 20, the APL35, APL20, the JPpro, as well as the APL35 cell. I don't know if I already mentioned that before, but you'll more or less see about 8 to 12 hours of continuous use for those items over there. Now let me see if there's anything else I need to talk about. And then, that's pretty much it. I'll go ahead and do a quick discussion about our frequently asked questions, because more or less I get a lot of these questions too on my live streams, or just in general. A lot of people ask, very simple questions, concerning the powering of their fridge. Some people might ask, actually one question I got the other day was, can I plug my fridge on both sides? Say for example, if I have a VL75, I've got one DC port on the very back side, and then I have an additional port on the front side as well. Can I go ahead and plug my fridge in both of them simultaneously? I would recommend you don't do that, because one, you may potentially overload your power control module on the inside of your fridge, just because you'll be a little bit too confused at where it's getting power from, and could result in overloading the system itself. So once again, if you are plugging your fridge in, choose either AC or DC, or plug it in once at a time, just to potentially refrain from burning out your fridge and potentially causing some internal malfunction. And then you have to call customer support and explain to them that you plugged your fridge in simultaneously and burnt out your power control module. Another question is, I've just received my fridge and it arrived upside down on its side. Can I go ahead and plug it in right away? Well, you can technically, turn your fridge upright and plug it in right away. I will not recommend doing so, because one, you would have to, there's oil obviously integrated in our fridges. We feature a very active ingredient system for our fridges. They include Freon, oil, and all different sorts of substances that more or less will require being settled down. And that's why in our boxes we clearly label to keep upright. We tell carriers, keep upright, handle, it's fragile, please handle with care. And obviously sometimes we'll have carriers who do not care. That's just the reality of transportation. And more or less, if you do receive your fridge upside down or on its side, I would highly recommend setting your fridge upright, leaving it for 24 hours before turning it on and using the fridge itself. That way you give the fridge enough time for the oil to settle down and ensure proper operation of the fridge itself. If you do not do that, if you try to turn on your fridge instantly as you receive it one thing you can do is possibly burn out your compressor due to the oil being completely to one side, and the other side of the compressor, say for example, it's bent up on one side and not all of the oil has settled completely. What you can do is possibly burn out some of the components on the inside of the compressor, which could in turn result in the fridge shutting off in order to protect itself, or the compressor just completely malfunctioning, and now you have a fridge that more or less doesn't work. Or you can more or less get away with it, but you'll actually promote premature wear on the fridge itself by setting it, by turning it on the moment you receive it in the mail. So once again, highly recommend you guys set your fridge upright for about 24 hours and then turn it on that way. Alrighty, and then another question I get is if I have the fridge in the back of my rig, I say for example, if I'm going off-roading or I'm going rock crawling, especially rock crawling, if you're tackling steeper gradients, can the fridge still operate at full capacity? Well, the cool thing is about all of our lineup of fridges is that they are capable of operating up to 40 degrees tilt on all three axes. So if you are going to be rock crawling or you're tackling steeper gradients or harder trails with your rig, if you've got the fridge more or less hard mounted to the bed or the back of your rig, again, you could operate the fridge up to 40 degrees of tilt. One thing I will say is that a lot of our competitors out there don't really have that quite figured out, and that's primarily because of the compressor. More or less, they utilize inferior models of compressors, whereas we utilize ICECO, which is typically the top of the line compressors, which ensures strong, stable performance for all of our fridges that we have in our lineup. And these things are capable of handling up to 40 degrees of tilt. That is more or less because of how the oil channels have been engineered on the inside, and more or less ensures that the compressor will not ensures proper lubrication for moving parts inside of the compressor is more or less what I'm trying to say, which pretty much in turn lets you operate the fridge at while you're rock crawling or tackling those steeper gradients. And now let's go ahead and see. And that's pretty much it for the frequently asked questions. Those are more or less what I get asked or talked about a lot. Obviously, there's still questions about powering. Everything that concerns power consumption is going to be on our official website if you want to check it out. If you want to go ahead and see the specs, the weight, the size of our fridges and see if it fits your application. I know a lot of you guys out there are using your fridges in tight spaces, whether if it's on a trailer or if it's on a camper setup. You know you have a certain window at which you can slot a fridge in and utilize it that way. That's why we include the weight and dimensions of all of our fridges, and more or less will enable you to ensure that you have a proper fit for your fridges, as well as in the back of your rig or whatever vehicle that you are running. And I would say that that's pretty much it. If you guys are interested in hearing about when we do these YouTube live streams, don't forget to hit the follow button above, or the subscribe button actually, or down below if you want to subscribe to the ICECO official page. Pretty much we do these live streams every other week on YouTube, but where we're a lot bigger is on Amazon. We do these live streams on Amazon Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, typically every week, and then we make space for the YouTube live stream every other week. So you'll see us doing about 5 live streams every 2 weeks for Amazon, and then we'll do 1 live stream every 2 weeks for YouTube. And typically you'll see them from Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 2 to 3 p.m. On Amazon, we have the products linked down below with all the discounts, and we actually usually showcase a lot more products if you want to check that out as well. So I highly recommend moving over to our Amazon page if you want to check out all the cool deals that we've got going on. In fact, we are doing an Amazon live stream tomorrow from 2 to 3 p.m. If you want to go ahead and check out the products that we're going to be showcasing, and then as well as the pricing that revolves around those fridges. But that will be all for today's live stream. Once again, thank you to everybody who came out to decided to hop onto the YouTube live stream, and good day to those who decide to watch my live stream later on. We are going to go ahead and end the live stream for today. And if you guys do not have any questions, comments, or concerns, I see that nobody has any questions. So we're going to go ahead and end the live today. And I will catch you guys tomorrow on Amazon. So go ahead and hop onto that Amazon live stream tomorrow, where we'll talk about the products and deals, because that one is gonna be sick and it's gonna be rad. That'll be all for today. I'll go ahead and see you guys later. And we're gonna be ending it off for now. See you guys later. I gotta walk over here and end the live stream. Peace out, guys. I'll see you guys later.